Checking the technicals, having drinks.
Exciting to be here then.
Exciting to be here, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, welcome to Agentic E-commerce. Lou, thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Really grateful for making the trip. Going to have a cool conversation about e-commerce, longevity, a little bit of AI, how are we utilizing AI agents in your business currently, or even just how you're dreaming about using them. And so this is my second podcast so far. And I've been telling people that I think I'm a better guest than a host currently. So,
right. So shall I be the judge of that?
Yeah, you be the judge of that,
Okay.
and we'll try and stay on track and stay tight. And so I've got a question to kick us off. Ageless You, can you give us the elevator pitch up front, just so people know what you do?
Okay, elevator pitch is when you turn about 40 or 50, things can start to fall apart. And that was my experience. And I did a deep dive into how to age better for my own personal reasons, and sort of ended up going through the lifestyle hacks and then got to supplements. And there seemed to be a whole lot of friction around knowing what supplements to take, how much to take, where to buy them from, had to take all these pills. So, cut a long story short, I thought longevity needs to be made easy. So I've pulled together 13 of the sort of most potent longevity ingredients and put them into one easy daily to drink powder.
Boom.
Yeah.
Fountain of youth in a scoop.
Yeah.
The scoop of youth.
Scoop of youth.
That's what I would have called it. Okay, brilliant. And can I take you to, can you give us like a breakdown? Do you even know, like, was there a single moment where you knew Ageless You had to exist? Like, do you remember?
In the space of 3 hours, I had two separate friends say to me, "This is too hard. Why do I have to go to 13 different websites to buy the supplements?" And the second person said to me, literally 2 or 3 hours later, "I don't want to take 15 pills."
Right, had you given them a roadmap? Had
Yeah.
you given? Oh, so you'd done the research and you'd gone and you were taking.
Oh yeah, I had an email that I used to send out to all my friends. You know, where to buy it from, how much to take, what it did. Yeah.
And you'd done that research and you were taking all the things. You were doing it. You were doing the legwork.
But I was also beginning to realise it was quite expensive. I was spending about $250 to $300 a month buying the individual supplements.
Right. And you went. That was the moment. That day you went.
Yeah,
I'm
it's just too much friction.
I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Epic. How long ago was that?
2 years ago.
Yeah. Nice. And so it's been a pretty interesting road over the last 2 years, and I'm keen to talk about your experience with agencies and building this stuff. But can you've got like a pretty storied business background already. Can you give us a little bit of your background in business leading into your e-commerce journey?
Typical serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Was sort of at the bleeding edge of the internet when it first started 30 odd years ago. Was all involved in digital marketing, or then it was called online advertising.
Yeah.
Had an agency doing that. Then I've had all sorts of things.
Can we dig into that a little bit? Because I think that's interesting,
Really?
right? Like,
Okay.
what were you actually doing?
Right. So I had a company called NetSpace. It was the first company in New Zealand that placed media on the internet. Wow. So they were banner ads.
And what are we talking? What year are we talking?
1990. God, it would have been 97 maybe.
1990. OG.
Yeah,
I say
97. It might have been earlier than that. 96 maybe. Yeah. So I went to New York. Well, I was working for a direct marketing agency.
Yeah.
Went to New York on holiday, and they said, "Go and see our it was FCB. Go and see our office in New York." So I went there, and the internet was just starting to happen. And I sort of said to them, "Okay, so what are your brands doing? How do they advertise themselves online?" And they said, "Well, they do these things called banner ads." And I said, "Well, who puts that all together?" And they said, "Oh, they've got different people that do it." Came back to New Zealand and realised there was no one doing that. It's basically like a media placement agency.
Yeah.
So I went to the press, I went to TVNZ, I went to Extra, all the companies then that had the real estate. They needed to monetize it. So then I went to all the brands and put the two together.
You were basically the Facebook ad manager. Mm-hmm. You were the auction where you would do your ad sets and stuff, and you'd go get the inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell people, I like to say, I got in pretty early in 2011.
Yeah.
But there was a whole.
But it's hard being at the bleeding edge too. So I was bleeding edge. So I was educating everyone. Like I was having seminars in all the big ad agencies, Saatchi's, all of them at the
trying
time.
to go, this is the thing.
This is the thing, and I didn't get paid for that, and I just ended up burning myself out. And it was all the people that came along afterwards that had all the learnings that I got, and that's sort of how
Yeah, so
it
you're
works.
in
Hard
it.
to
You're
manage.
you've probably, I don't know anyone that was doing banner ads in '97. That's
No.
fun. So you got it early. You've kind of almost come full circle
Yeah.
back to the online marketing world. And then what'd you do after that? Was there a couple businesses in between?
Went down the health and fitness side of things. So
Yep.
I had a fitness business, had a supplement business, supplement retail business, and then took time out, had kids, and then set up a online content marketing business.
Yeah,
Did all the a lot of videos for like Severe New Zealand, all the tourism sort of players,
cool.
and had the platform that did the online video at the time. So you had to stream it separately back then.
Yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
slightly bleeding edge.
Yeah,
And
so you're kind of first to market.
yeah.
That's your thing.
yeah, and that sort of morphed into a content agency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And then the restaurants as well.
well, that's my husband's gig.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
but
So you
I
just
get
operating
pulled
in
into it.
yeah, operate in that space. Yeah, cool. And because I think one of the things, like e-commerce is, all commerce is e-commerce now, right? It used to be a separate thing. Now it's pretty simple. But like, have you found it difficult doing the e-commerce thing as a solo founder? Because there's a lot to manage. There's a lot of deliverables, or is that
Hardest thing I've ever done.
hardest thing you've ever
So
done?
I've had a lot of different businesses. They've all been hard, but this is the hardest. If I'd done it maybe 10 years ago, I might not be saying that, but it's become really hard. It's really competitive. There's so much to learn. You know, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I went into it. I'd still do it again tomorrow, but being a solo founder, bootstrapping,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's really hard because there's just so much to learn and
so many components.
so many components. It's just like I feel like, you know, I if it wasn't for some of the technology, I'd probably have to employ about 6 people. But
Yeah.
so that hasn't been, you know, the technology, you know, AI, we're going to talk about that, but that enables you to be more productive. But yeah, it's the hardest thing I've done because it is so competitive. You know, you can't just open an online store
And print money.
yeah, and print money. And you know, the 1% of businesses that we hear about all day, every day on our streams,
Yeah.
you know, that's 1%. So they've
If that.
yeah, and they've had good luck, good timing, you know, probably some funding.
A lot of
then
them are running ads when they were bloody cheap.
Yeah.
And they acquired all their customers then.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
10 years ago, yeah, I mean, you're probably paying 5 cents a click. Now you're paying, well, I'm paying, you know, $3.
$3-4,
Yeah, yeah.
And do you know what? I think e-commerce founders need to hear that, because a lot of e-commerce founders, especially ones I work, it's their first business because it's this natural thing, and you do see the constant stories from the agencies and the coaches that are essentially pitching the best results they've ever had, right? And so you get this like inflated perception, and then people come in and go, "But this is hard. Do I suck? Like, what's the go?"
Yeah, they throw all these ROAS numbers at you, and it's like, well, why aren't I doing that? They've probably picked their top 1%.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there's this cherry picking in the market. And then if you don't have context, you might just be going, like, this is so hard, it's me. But the business owners that have actually been, I am one of our practitioners on the program, Brad, he's an accountant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he used to always say, like, why don't these brands get their data to me on time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he goes and starts an e-commerce business, and now he's manages his production, and he's doing buying trips, and he's doing his marketing, he's doing all this stuff. And he's going, yeah, now I get it. An e-commerce business owner has to juggle so many different balls that most other business owners don't. And I didn't have that perspective until I started working with the brands and hearing this, because all I've ever really known is e-commerce. But again, when I started, it was a lot simpler. You could kind of like make your product, make a couple of ads, put the ads up, run them for a few years.
Yeah, now you've got to produce video at scale, day in, day out. You've got social media, you've got to do, you know, it's...
Yeah. Hence
volume.
why, for the challenger brands, for the smaller brands coming into the market, 2025 and all the years hereafter are going to be dominated by agents and your AI agents. Your ability to integrate AI tools and technology and agents into your business to take some of that workflow off your plate, right? And I think it's really important to be doing it quite quickly, because when everyone's there, it's like that's the competitive advantage. So there's this little competitive advantage, the same advantage that the brands had on Facebook in 2015. Brands at the front of AI technology now have a similar advantage. But I think the window feels a little bit. It's a smaller window to slip through.
Yeah, and then everyone will eventually catch up. But yeah.
Yeah, and they're catching up quite quick, which is really interesting, right? So keen to go into what gaps did you see in the longevity space? Is obviously like removing all the friction. How did you go about producing this product? How did you go about creating the differentiated product? Like, where did you start? What did you do?
I just started seeking out people online that were into longevity. You know, Ben Greenfield was the first one, for example. He's like one of the best, he won PT of the Year in the States and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I started following him because he basically said, this is how you exercise for longevity. And that was sort of my thing. It was like, that's the thing I really noticed I couldn't exercise. So he started me going down that rabbit hole. And I looked at the supplements he took. And then I started looking at the supplements specifically. And then the individual people that did all the research on those supplements, like David Sinclair, who does the NMN research. And began and looked at all the different brands out there and what they were doing and the research, and basically worked out a hierarchy of what I believe to be the best supplements.
Right.
It was about 20 of them, and then we had to try and work out, because it was going into a powder form, it had to taste good, it had to taste well, it had to mix well. You know, as it stands, we've got a bit of grit at the moment that we're getting rid of in our new formula, but
Right.
it took a lot to get it to a point of almost perfection, but nothing's ever perfect really in that world. But it was so I came up with initially 7 ingredients that sort of gave you the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah.
I put a potent dose in
Yeah.
of each ingredient because that's how you get the results.
Yeah.
It pushed it up I pushed it up on a price point that I wasn't too sure I wanted to go to.
Right.
But I went for the quality supplement that gets you results to get the lifetime value of the customer. So if they weren't feeling better, they're not going to buy it the second, third, and fourth time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, in this game, you know what it costs to acquire that customer the first time round.
Yeah.
If you don't have a quality, if you're not actually getting measurable, like noticeable change, no deal, right?
Yeah.
You're out the door. Okay, so it's essentially a process of research experts and then your lived experience using the products.
Right, yeah. So I was taking the products.
Yeah.
I was taking probably 20 odd supplements.
Yeah.
And
so you're mad scientist.
yeah, I was the petri dish.
Yeah, okay.
So, but I was taking them all at different times and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I worked out. I don't know if I worked out exactly what was making me feel better. I sort of had a sense of what was making me feel better, but I leaned into the science for that.
Yeah.
And my new formula's got another 7 ingredients in it that's coming out next week.
An additional 7?
I've taken 2 out.
Right, okay, so this is like an evolving...
Yeah, I took 2 out. One was a bit gritty.
Yeah.
And the second one was an ingredient called resveratrol. And the science has developed in the last 6 months. It's not as compelling as pterostilbene, which is also in the formula. And I thought, well, why do I need resveratrol? A, it's expensive. B,
Right.
pterostilbene's doing the same thing. And
Wow.
C, the research was, a little bit conflicting, so I took it out. So that's the thing. It's always going to be an evolving formula.
What I'm picking up from this is like the level of actual science and analysis that you've gone to develop a product that will win over time, which is epic. And there's a lot of business owners we meet and they come in the call and they're doing this thing, doing the supplement, and they've banged it together, right? And it's not selling. I'm not getting repeat purchases, and they're optimizing their Clavio, it's all quite tactical marketing things, but it's all like you're actually going, I'm going to develop the best product on the market. Yeah, which takes a lot of... Do you think you'd even be able to do it if it wasn't solving a problem you were passionate about, like for yourself?
Isn't that why all founders start businesses though?
Yeah, not all of them, but
Right.
I guess it'd be hard, right? Like,
I mean, like anything, I mean, you have to passionately believe that there are benefits in what you're doing, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. So, I'm living proof, N=1 of me, but, I'm the healthiest I've ever been. My biological age is 10 years younger.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, you look bloody good.
Yeah, I know. I know it works. And, the amazing thing is to start to see all the customers that start saying they feel better. And one lady said to me at Christmas, I was on actually one of my reviews, that she went to a Christmas lunch and all her friends insisted she was taking Botox, but she wasn't.
Oh, you're right. She's getting the Botox yarn.
Yeah, but it's actually not about making you look younger. It's cellular youth, but that has a side
bonus,
effect.
Though. Yeah. How many of your customers do you think are in it for the internal feeling or the external?
Well, quite a few of them, which is why I've got the skin product.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I call my vanity product. So
yeah.
If you're going to spend $129 a month on feeling good, you might be inclined to spend another $59 on looking better.
Yeah, and that especially I think, and we've talked about this in New Zealand, that's quite a punchy price point, right?
Yeah.
But then you compare it against the benefit of feeling and looking 10 years younger, maybe 20 years younger. It's a big win.
Daily cost is $4.50 a day.
Yeah.
What do you spend on a cup of coffee a day?
Yeah. Aren't they like $100 now?
Yeah.
But they can be like 8, right?
Yeah. But that's why when I first went into the research of it, my vision, my goal was it had to be less than a daily cup of coffee. Yeah. So that was where
That's your limiter.
Yeah, that was
because otherwise, I guess it could blow out forever. You can just keep putting
I mean, there's
stuff
one in the States. It's like a milk. It's like a protein shake. It's like $200.
Yeah.
It's got everything in it, but Yeah.
I really love how you're onto Formula, probably 3 now. You had your concoctions, then you had a prototype, then you had your first market release, and you're going to be your second market release.
Yeah.
So when people are buying into Ageless You, they're actually buying into almost outsourcing the consistent innovation to you. You're like, I'm going to keep this product at pace with the research.
Yeah. Yeah. Science-led.
Science-led.
Yeah.
That's epic. That's how founders should be thinking about their product development, like at that level.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them don't. I think they focus on how do I sell this thing to people versus how do I get the absolute best product possible.
And the science is, science is all over the place because often there's politics behind it and that sort of thing. But you just got to keep abreast of it. And, there's a lot of what's great now and what's not. And there's a lot of trends, creatines, everything's about that now. But when the research, that'll take 3 really potent research studies and clinical trials to come out, and that will elevate a supplement as well. Yeah, right. And the other problem is the quality of the supplements themselves. That's a whole other rabbit hole.
Yeah. Where do you make it? Where do you make it?
Here in a GMP
facility.
GMP and FDA certified facility.
If you had one piece of advice for founders to source and achieve quality ingredients, what is it? How do you know? How do you...
Well, you sourcing, you need to, I guess, know where to source it, but you've always got an insurance policy in the fact that once it's sourced, there's 2 levels of tests you can do. There's tests for trace materials, making sure it's pure, and there's nothing bad in it. And then there's another level of tests, assay tests, where you are testing how much potency's in it. Like if you've got, say it's got NMN, is it 99% NMN? A whole lot of tests have just come out in the States, and some of them don't even have NMN in them.
So it's saying NMN on the package, none in there.
None in there. So I'm just in the process at the moment of getting those final assay tests, and they'll be all on my website for every ingredient. That's
wild, eh? And that's part of the problem online is anyone can spin these things up. Shitty job. We've got a supplement brand, Shilajit. You heard of Shilajit?
Yeah, that's the thing from Nepal.
Nepal, yeah. And so we're doing a version of that. And there's all these ones on the market, and it's this stuff out of China. And the founder, Amit, he's from Nepal. He's going, this isn't Shilajit. It's literally not. It's a brown gunky thing. Get it tested. It's literally, it's not even chemically similar. It's imitation.
It's dirt from Nepal.
Whatever. Yeah, mate. Is it, or is it from Guangzhou?
Yeah.
And so it must be. Yeah. How do you compete with that? Like, do you publicize
So
the level of...
you publish. I will be. I mean, I haven't. I've got one. I send them out if people email me, but I'm actually about to put them on a website so people can actually see the reports from the labs.
Here's my certificates. Here's my reports. Here's the due diligence.
Yeah, and there's one step further you can go, and I launched in the States. Is there's a company called Consumer Lab, and you give them your product, and they verify it themselves and publish it.
Yeah, okay, and that's probably pretty pricey.
It's not too bad, but I'd do it.
Would you buy? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going, especially a supplement I see online or in a store. I want to see the certs.
Yeah.
Show me your papers.
Yeah, I mean, you're ingesting it.
Yeah. And it's a different world now, right? Like with the amount of proliferation, it probably leads us to one of the questions I had for you. Like, it's a pretty crowded market. There's a lot of people doing it. Did you think about that going in? Were you worried about it? How you're going, I'm going to develop the best product. But is there any other ways that you're looking to stand out in a crowded market?
Yeah, it's really hard. When I first launched, there was only one other company doing this in the States.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no one's actually gotten onto this yet. Competition's inevitable.
Yeah.
And if competition's in the market, you know you're actually onto something.
Yeah.
So you just need to iterate and make sure what you're doing I spent a lot of time trying to work out what my point of difference was. Company in the States didn't have to worry about it too much. I will when I go there, but their product does not include NMN. You have to buy that separately.
Yeah.
So that's one point of difference. Then AgeMate came into the market a month before I launched, and that was a real thorn in my side.
Right.
17 ingredients. I had 7. Their potency was way down though.
Yeah.
And they were cheaper. So I had to think really long and hard about what my point of difference was. And basically, I had double the NMN, and mine is made in a GMP FDA facility with all the testing. Theirs comes out of China.
Right. Yeah.
And we all know about that. They publish one of their ingredients. They say everything's tested, but they only publish one of them. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to publicly go out there and diss them.
Yeah, we won't want to do that thing, but you're just going, hey, here's
I'm the quality. It's the quality. Made in New Zealand, FDA, GMP facility.
Yep.
There's a quality stamp on it. They cannot do that. And no one knows what comes out of those factories in China, particularly in supplements. Yeah, and I've had a lot of customers contact me actually and go, I've been taking that AgeMate one. I'm not very happy about it because I know it comes from China.
Whew. Shots fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that in there. Maybe we'll cut that into an ad. See how that goes. My podcast might get sued on round 2.
Yeah.
Or I guess we spur them on to a higher quality product. Either way, the market wins, right?
But the market wins. But to me, it's quality wins. But I had to really think long and hard. Where am I going to position myself?
Yes.
And the most expensive ingredient in all the formulas are NMN. It's expensive and it's the most potent and it's the one that gives you the most results.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So that's where you started.
Yep.
And then were you thinking through, at what point did you start thinking through the front end, the brand, the product, the connectivity? Are there any other things, or if a brand owner came to you and said, hey, I've got the best product in the market, it's differentiated, but all these other guys are beating me. What do I do to compete? Like, what do you think the other elements outside of the best product are you can use to differentiate?
The added value of being founder led, I think, is a big one because I can offer knowledge.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's credible, it's seen as credible.
Yeah.
But so a lot of my, not my ads, but a lot of my content on my website and a lot of my socials are always talking about longevity and the 5 pillars of longevity. And it's like, okay, well, you can take the supplement, but these are all the lifestyle things you need to do as well. Yeah. So that is probably where I sort of take that side of things as well.
Yeah. So the education, the community, and because ultimately, right, like there's your product, but then there's the lifestyle that the individual's leading.
Yeah. And I guess I try and be the inspiration from that. The two other founders of my key competitors are in their 30s. So, you know, they can talk about it all day, every day. But, you know, I'm actually living, breathing example of how to live a good life as you get older. So I'm hoping that you know, that in the way I present it inspires people who are 50, because that's what I'm trying to do. And they look at me and it's relatable.
Because I bought some in whatever you call it, and then but it doesn't even work. Like it's not worthwhile.
It's not going to work for you because you're under 40. So from the age of 30, from 40, when you hit 40, your NMN, your NAD levels, which is what NMN creates, are reduced by 50%. Yours are kicking along really well.
I'm sweet.
Yeah,
I'm producing my own.
You don't need NMN.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Good to know. They didn't tell me that on the website I bought it from.
Yeah. Just take your money.
Yeah, just take my money. I got some other thing. Oh, I forgot what it's called. Yeah. Okay.